Welcome to this Empowered Life session on holding space for change. Um, I'm not sure if I'm actually live right now because my screen is still turning, but I want to begin with a meditation. Okay, let me start over. Aloha, everyone. Welcome to this Empowered Life session, holding space for change. So, if you're here, I'd love for you to say hi. And we're going to be exploring the idea of holding space for ourselves and holding space for others. So we're going to begin first with a meditation that is going to help us tune into the experience of what it actually means to hold space. I love investigating words and breaking them down and really feeling what do these words mean to me. So what does it mean to hold space, and why do we use this term? And how is this an activity or an orientation of being that is something that might be valuable to our lives? So I invite you to close your eyes, and we're going to give ourselves a visceral experience of simply holding space for ourselves. And to me, in essence, this is what meditation is. It is a practice of moving beyond the mind so that we are in the position that is just watching, that is just holding space, essentially, for the mental activity that's happening, for the physical sensations that are moving through the body, and for the emotions that are moving through the body. Essentially, this is a receptive and feminine activity. And in a world where we've been taught so much to do the opposite, it's like to push ahead and to only act and to only do and to only make effort. This act of yin, of receptivity, of moving back into the observer position and not doing anything from there, not pushing in one's asserting an identity or asserting a personality, but instead moving back. So this is something we're going to practice now in this meditation. So I invite you to close your eyes and just feel your body as it is, letting everything begin to slow down, everything slowing down, giving your mind the opportunity to relax, giving your body the opportunity to be without needing it to be different, giving the emotions space to be without needing it to be different. Really taking this time. And this act of taking the time to hold space for what is happening in our inner world is something that we actually need to practice, because everything in our programming is gearing us up to go, to do the opposite. So it literally is a training, and we help each other do this, to move back and to take some time to observe. And we are starting to learn the incredible value of this in our world. So starting to let yourself just feel what is happening, and notice any impulses inside of you to move on to something more important, or to not feel whatever it is you're feeling, or to try to find a way to change the way you're feeling. Notice those impulses and see if you can still simply be present. See if you can move into a space of awareness of what is happening inside and acceptance of what is happening inside. Breathing, seeing if you can find some relief from not telling yourself that you need to be any different in this moment. What does that feel like? Breathing in and breathing out. So I'm going to close this little meditation now. I hope that just gave you a taste of where you're at in this moment, at least, in terms of relating to your inner worlds. Hey, Rachel. And now we're going to go on to speak a little bit about what it really means and why it's important to hold space. So what you might notice about this orientation of moving backwards is that it is very much against the mind that is trying to solve problems, that is coming in with a desire that oftentimes is not so much a desire that is coming from a deep yes and a deep place of passion, but oftentimes desire is coming from a place of a no to an aspect of one's experience or a no to one's past in some way. And so it actually takes a lot of discernment to feel where a desire for change is coming from. If it's coming from an authentic place of being filled up and genuinely that natural fire moving forward, or whether this desire is coming from a rejection of something. And this is especially important when we are working with people and we're holding space, and we are basically in service. We want to become aware if someone is coming into the space out of a place of and wanting to change out of a place of anxiety, in which case, if we pursue that same energy of tension, if we sort of fall into the person's no, rejection of a certain experience and wanting something out of a no, then we sort of perpetuate that essential lack of contentment. And so what I am suggesting and what I'm guiding people to do and what I do in my own work is actually to first do the opposite, to first start to unwind this anxious forward moving that is seeking often to escape from an experience. So as a coach, I feel my responsibility is to bring one back into the body and into this moment, to actually feel what is happening here and now before moving on to the next thing. So Rachel is saying, I actually woke up quite relaxed and connected to my inner world today. But recently it's been more challenging for me to relax into my day. I've been feeling like I'm pushing in my life, trying to accomplish things. So happy to check in and feel the shift with that meditation. Yeah, I totally relate to that. It's this engine that kind of runs in our society that is built on this perpetuation of a belief in lack, that there's something either wrong with us or there's something not enough about what we have and who we are. And so much of the work that we're doing with our healing, with our spiritual practice, with the work in service to others is to sort of unwind that direction that only moves forward and ends up destroying ourselves and destroying our planet. So this holding space for change, again, it's like this opening up and starting to receive myself, receive the other person in this moment. And to me, that is such an act of rebellion to actually just sit and for a moment not try to do anything, not try to accomplish anything. I invite us to just check in for a moment and see if there's any part of our body that actually finds it challenging to find the value in simply sitting and doing nothing, in simply holding space for what is happening in the inner world. So I'm going to invite Jess to check in once more. This forward moving orientation is often what prevents people from taking care of themselves. As we know, this self-love and self-care movement is starting to become more popular. And I think it's because people are realizing that, whoa, even to just step back and to tune in to one's needs is something that we're actually needing to practice. It's not something that most of us were taught to value. So Georgia says, yes, that engine that keeps going forward, unwinding the direction that only moves forward. Yeah, like I'm getting so many images in my head as I see that engine forward, forward, forward. But eventually there needs to be a balancing. There needs to be a coming back. And so much of our work is learning how to balance this masculine energy with the feminine, this yang, fire, sun energy with this yin, moon energy, this receptivity energy. So, let's see what Georgia, receiving myself in the other, yes. So I want to just see if there's anything else to say about holding space for change. Well, I'll share what I feel the benefit is of learning to sink in to this presence, to sink into this moment, here and now. And that is when we can come all the way into the present moment, so much that there's no past and there's no future, just this moment. This is a 0 point. This is the place where true, spontaneous creativity can arise. So just feel what that even means. What is that energy of pure spontaneity, pure creativity, where you just don't know what is going to happen? You don't know what your body is going to do. You don't know what is going to come out of your mouth. I mean, that's how I feel right now. And honestly, it's quite blissful. Because there's no ties in either direction, past or future. So just feeling that creative spontaneity. And then the next thing that is coming is the reason why play is so incredibly valuable is because it brings us to that 0 point moment where we're in the present moment. So if you watch children playing, their mind is not going to something that happened, back at breakfast time. And their mind is not going forward to when is my mom going to call me for dinner. If you remember being a child playing, it's like that always came out of nowhere. And if you had been worried about that the entire time you were playing with your friend, it would not be as enjoyable. It wouldn't have been that freedom. So I'm going to actually just close this little session on holding space for change with another little guided exercise, and then from here I'll close the live, but you might want to take another few minutes after this to just see where your spontaneity takes you. So I'll let you just close your eyes and just feel yourself. And just imagine, what would it feel like in this moment to not resist a single thing that is happening within me? To not resist any loneliness I might be feeling. To not resist this pain in the shoulder, for example. To not resist this mental activity regarding something that happened with this person, to not resist it. It doesn't mean it needs to disappear. We are talking about holding space. And so that means allowing what is happening to happen. So once again, just taking the opportunity to feel. And no matter what your reaction to this is, just take note of it. Breathe in and breathe out. And then just choose one sensation to notice. Maybe it's the temperature of your body. Maybe it's the rise and fall of your chest. See if you can just focus for one moment on something your body is feeling. And let that focus on something your body is experiencing bring you into the here and now. You can also use your sense of hearing. Maybe you can hear these koki frogs coming to you this evening from Hawaii. So focusing on one thing, and can you stay there for even just 10 seconds? And now we're going to see what it's like to stay with the body and simply follow a natural impulse that wants to take place. So I'm going to start, guiding you in this direction, and then I'm going to close off the live, and then I invite you for another few minutes to simply follow your body. You might actually notice that your body feels a certain way. Like my body actually feels quite tired. You might notice that one part of your body feels tight and actually wants to move. You might find that your breathing was more shallow than you thought. And then from this noticing, from this awareness, I invite you to then allow yourself, give yourself full permission in this space to just move however you want to move. It takes presence to do that, to move spontaneously. Because when we're only in the mind, we don't really know what the body and what the heart is wanting. So that's why then we just go through motions like, okay, I'm going to stand up now and I'm going to go to the bathroom. But this practice is saying, what is happening inside of you right now? And what would your body, what would your heart have you do next? And staying in complete connection with your body. It's possible to cultivate this practice and to eventually be living in the moment on a rather consistent basis. And I believe part of the way we learn how to do this is to start by being with what is, holding space for what is in this moment. So I invite you to try this. If you feel that urge to rush off and do something, I invite you to just question that. And I also want to share that this is part of a teaching that is in my coach training course. Holding space for change is something that is so important when we're working with people. Like I said earlier, oftentimes people are coming to the space because they want to change something, but often it's coming from anxiety that's coming with a no to a certain experience. And in the approach that I work with, it is my responsibility to help them come into their body and into the present moment so we can feel authentically what wants to occur, what authentically wants to be created out of a yes to the beautiful, unique person that one is. What is coming from a yes to what is one's heart's desire, what is one's soul's calling. As a coach, I don't want to facilitate change that is coming from a place of, I need to achieve this goal because I don't want to have this experience. So when we start with holding space, we allow for all the experiences to be there first. We allow any pain to be there first and to be witnessed first. And then from there, once that's released, now there's more space for authentic expression to occur, for true creative inspiration to come in. So, Gemma, loving this so much. Thank you. I'm so glad you're loving it. Yes, amazing. Rachel, love this exercise. Knowing how to hold space for ourselves is super important and necessary when we want to hold space for others. Totally. We can really only give others what we're able to give ourselves. So I hope that you found some value in this practice of holding space for ourselves. And if you're interested in learning how to hold space for others, as well as a whole bunch of other tools for understanding our mind and our emotions, you can check out my coach training, which is coming up, hosted by the Goddess Temple. And we're going to be going really deep into really mastering our own vessels so that we can be, really amazing mirrors, space holders, and catalysts of transformation for others. So, all right, everyone, have a beautiful day. Aloha from Hawaii. I told a bunch of friends that I was with that I was coming back to do this, and they just send lots of love. And I'll leave you with the message from one brother, which is be the blessings that you wish to receive. Aloha. Good night.